Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Degenerates podcast.
Hi.
I want to start this one by saying that if you're listening to this, then the art contest is over, and nobody entered anything, which means I'm gonna win unless someone enters something. Cause someone said they were going to enter something, but then they were commenting on like every one of my videos. And now they stopped commenting after they said they were making something, so they better have been working real hard. It better be amazing, and they better
You better have made me something good.
Well, if they stopped commenting, and I'm gonna assume that all they've been doing is working on the art.
Yeah.
That's
what else could they conceivably be doing?
That's the last thing that they commented.
Yeah.
And something else. Remember back at the beginning of the philosophy episode? Remember the philosophy episode?
Yeah.
It was like episode 8 or something. It was a long time ago.
Oh yeah, that was a long time ago.
And at the beginning, you asked me what philosophy I had, and I was like, I don't fucking know. And then you were like, you're a nihilist. And then later, a few weeks ago, in Blue Collar, it was also like, oh, you're a nihilist. But I don't know. I never really have thought of myself like a nihilist in my head, so I started reading about it, and I think that I'm more of an absurdist than a nihilist.
Yeah, that's another one. So
I do feel like there's like no real meaning to everything, but then I'm not negative about it though, and that's the thing about nihilism. It's
I don't think nihilism is like necessarily like a negative view, because you can be like there's no meaning to life and that's fine. Like Camus, like that's what Camus was like. He was like Sisyphus, like pushes his rock up the hill. Like we're just like him, dude. We just like pushing rocks up hills. We just like
that's an absurdist viewpoint though.
Yeah. Exactly.
Not a nihilist view.
But it's still nihilist. It's just nihilist and
they're two
absurdist.
different things.
Two separate things?
Yeah.
Because I think nihilism is like just the recognition that there's no inherent meaning in life.
No, because with nihilism, it's not just the recognition that there's no meaning in life. It's the recognition that there's no meaning in life and that it is pointless to try to put any meaning to life.
Well, yeah. So it's pointless to try and put any meaning to life because life has no meaning. That's also absurdist.
No.
Well, because like the absurdist is like
absurdist is different.
So what's the absurdist all about?
Absurdist believes that there is no point to life, but it believes that there could possibly be a point to life. Logically, though, too, if we're able to put a meaning to it.
If we're able to put a meaning to it.
Yeah.
But then okay. So the absurdist is like there's no inherent meaning unless we put meaning on something.
Yeah, pretty much. Well, no, it's a little different than that, actually. I'm not good at explaining it. I'm not good at explaining it, but they are different things.
Yeah, because my understanding of like absurdism is like, there's no inherent meaning in life. Well, this is like Camus' absurdism, I guess. So it's like flavored with just Camus. So it's like, there's no inherent meaning in life. And first off, I forget which book this is in.
Because you said that you like existentialism, right?
Yeah.
Existentialism, if absurdism is nihilism, then existentialism would also be nihilism, because existentialists believe that there is no meaning, too.
I don't think all existentialists believe that.
That's one of the beliefs of existentialism.
I think, because basically, okay, here's my gripe with that. Because the person, he basically started existentialism. He he started the existential. He was an existential thinker. Let's put it that way. And he was like, yeah, the highest thing that we should all be working towards is working on our God relationship, working on our relationship to God. Mm-hmm. And then another person, his name was Sartre. He was like, yeah, we should, our relationship with other people, that's important. So it seems to me like there is, like, existentialists do believe that there's meaning.
No, existentialists believe that there is no inherent meaning, but that we put our own meaning to things.
Mm.
That's what I was reading. That's what it said. It said that existentialists, nihilists, and absurdists all have a similar, core, which is that there is no inherent meaning, but then they accept it different ways.
Mm. Yeah, okay, that does make sense. No inherent meaning, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And then they each handle it in different ways. So, like, nihilism would be like, yup, can't do anything about it, fuck it, I'm just gonna do drugs till I die. And kill myself. Absurdist is like, yeah, life has no meaning, so I'm just gonna, I don't know, fucking do what I want. Like, that's kinda... Yeah. That seems to be closer to...
Yeah.
Does that seem closer to what it would mean to be absurdist?
That sounds more like me.
Yeah.
Than a nihilist does.
Yeah, okay. That's good.
Mm-hmm.
And then I guess existentialism would be more like manifesting latent meaning in things.
Mm-hmm.
Because I definitely think that existentialists believe that there's, like, obviously not all existentialists believe the same thing. But I think most believe that there is, like, inherent meaning in some form.
Something about existentialism was that there was a list of... there was a whole chart that I read that showed the similarities and differences between existentialism and nihilism and absurdism. But there were... One big difference between the three was that existentialism had, like, more than one column because there was more than, like, one type of existentialism.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Existentialism is basically like, hey, we're all, like, individual people.
Mm-hmm.
Or, like, in the case of Nietzsche, we're all individual people because of an illusion.
Mm.
And also other people think that same thing. But anyways.
So the topic today is synchronicity.
Synchronicity! Whoa, dude.
Whoa.
Whoa, dude. So, synchronicity is basically, like, meaningful coincidences. I think that's literally the best way to describe it. So, it's like... what would an example of a synchronous event be?
I was watching X-Files yesterday. Well, I came in when my parents had an episode on, and there was this guy who could tell the future, but he could only tell when people were going to die, and that's all he could tell. He couldn't say anything else. He just knew how, when, where people would die. And so at one point he finds out that someone was murdered, so they go and they try to look for him, and then they're like, oh, why can you only find the area that they were murdered in? And why don't you know exactly where? But then it turns out that they actually parked their car right on top of the dead guy, and then the car gets stuck on it, and I'm not. One thing about the X-Files is that I don't actually think that there is any supernatural stuff going on in it personally. I'm on Scully's side, and so that would be a synchronicitous event.
Yeah.
Synchronicitous.
Yeah, if that happened in real life, that would be a synchronous event. Another example could be, like, literally, like, okay, here's the weird thing about that. Because that actually was the same thing that happened to Carl Jung. Carl Jung had dreams of when people were going to die.
Oh.
Yeah, which is weird.
That's crazy.
Like, it's super weird. Like, one example like, there's two examples that are kind of, like, one example, like, it's kind of weak, but another example, it's really freaky. So I'll give you the weak example first. So, essentially, Carl Jung had a bunch of patients around. He, like, lived in a certain area. He had a dream one night, it was, like, he had, like, a party or some shit. There's a bunch of people there, all from, like, a specific area, like a specific town. I forget what it was. I can send you the link of the website I got this information from. But essentially, he had a dream about all these people that were there, and he knew that there was one person there, and that person was going to die. But he couldn't recall who this person was during the dream. So, a few, like, I think it was like it was within a month later, probably close to like a week or so, and a person from that town died. And Carl Jung immediately recognized this person. The memory of his dream flooded back, and that person kind of like got filled out. And that person who got filled out was this person. So that's the weak version. That's a weak example.
Yeah, I was gonna say that doesn't exactly prove anything.
Yeah, exactly. But another one, he had a dream. His friend just died. All right, and then he was not familiar with his library or with his widow too much. But Carl Jung had a dream. His dead friend came to him in the dream, was like, "Hey, dude, follow me." Carl Jung was like, "Dude, you're just an imagination. You're just a figment of my imagination." But then Carl Jung took a leap of faith. He followed this his friend in his dream, his dead friend in his dream, went to his dead friend's house, went to his library, his dead friend's library. His dead friend pointed to a bookcase in like a specific area next to a stool, and then Carl Jung woke up. Next morning, Carl Jung fucking goes to his friend's library, asks his widow to see his library, because he's not very familiar with his library. He looks in the exact same spot his dream told him to look. Looks at the book there. Guess the title of that book. Dude.
Brief History of Time and Space?
No. But that's a good
Stephen
guess.
Hawking?
That's a good guess. It was Legacy of the Dead.
Oh, that's cool.
That's weird. That's super weird. Carl Jung had dreams like that, like, his entire life.
Oh, tell me another dream.
Shit, another dream, he didn't go into detail, but essentially, he had, like, a burning question on his mind, but then he, like, didn't really want to do it. Like, he was writing a book at the time. And he was like, dude, I'll write my book eventually, dude. I'm just gonna, like, mess around here. He, like, went on, like, a cycling thing. He, like, went and cycled with his friend for a little bit. And then, like, he had this dream, and he was like, shit, I gotta work on my book. And then he made, like, leaps and bounds in his, like, own research with that book. Because he knew there was something he needed to answer in that book. I forget which book it was. It was one of his earlier books, though.
It was the good book.
It was the good book. Yeah. He also had a dream of his, like, wife.
Dying?
Fuck, what happened? Because his wife died. Yeah, it's sad. Fuck. I can't remember what happened with him and his wife, but in his dream. But
well,
yeah.
it sounds like he had a lot of synchronicitous events.
Yeah, which is really weird. Also, the government actually spent fucking money trying to do shit like with like telepathy. Like the U.S. government, I think it's like the military government, spent money to research, like being able to, like learn information that you aren't in the physical presence of.
I'm not sure if that's real, but something that is cool.
Okay.
We're able to like put these things on our heads that will they'll measure our brain waves, and then if we focus hard enough with our brain waves, then we're able to make stuff levitate with it.
Oh yeah, that's.
But we have to put the thing on our heads though. We can't just do it.
Yeah, that's one of the bad things about that. Eventually, it'll become like that technology. A few Japanese, I think they were Japanese, a few Asian guys were working on this, and essentially they did like the same thing with the brainwaves, but they did it on like someone's like forearm, like their forearm skin, because you can still measure like this, like it's the same signals, like it's electricity, so you can just put it on your arm, and then move your arm around, and then they could like control a drone in the air.
Wow,
it was like a TED talk. It's really awesome. They also got like a machine to spell just by looking at your eyes, just by recording your eyes, and they could like finish sentences and shit.
Why do you think that's a bad thing?
What bad thing? What?
Well, when I said you're able to put this stuff on your head, you said, "Oh, that's a bad thing about it."
Oh, it's a limitation, because you don't want to put this fucking shit on your head every time you want to use it. Like, we don't want to have this fucking scalp thing on our head all the time while using all the technology.
I thought you meant that it was like a bad thing.
No, it's not bad. It's just inconvenient. Let's put it that way. Yeah. This is not very user friendly. Especially because you gotta use, like, gel and shit, and the gel is, like, really fucking... Like, I fucking... First time I had an EEG on my head, I had long-ass hair, and I got the gel, like, squirted it into my hair, and it just fucked it up. It fucked my hair up.
Yeah, I've never... I don't even know what that gel is like. I don't know anything about it.
Well, it's not... It's just gel. It's just regular gel.
Like hair gel? Like the...
No, it's not hair gel, but it's, like, gel that basically, like... allows the electrode to measure your brainwaves better.
Oh.
Yeah, because it's like, you know, just regular dry scalp isn't very, like, conductive or anything.
Oh, yeah, that's why, when you're electrocuting someone on the electric chair, you gotta put a wet sponge in between their head and and their hat, and their funny electric hat.
Funny electric hats. Yeah. Fuck, yeah. Really, really, cool stuff trying to explain these events. Because, first of all, like, we can say, call young things, we can say that these events are real and we can explain them.
We can?
We can't explain them right now.
Oh.
But he does think that they actually, like, do happen. Like, well, you can look into another person's brain.
Yeah, I do think that sometimes things will line up with each other and it'll look really cool, but I think they're just coincidences. I'm not sure if they're real.
Pattern-seeking brain really likes to just do this.
Yeah.
Because like that's I think that's literally like a one of the biggest things about people. We just like finding patterns.
Yeah. Well, that's what our brains are good at. That's how we evolved. We evolved to...
That's what the left side of our brain's really good at.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And then the right side of our brain is good at the other stuff. Being scared.
Yeah, that's a literal thing.
We're good at patterns and being scared.
Yeah. Left brain is like patterns and like positive emotion. Right brain's like, oh shit, I'm scared. And it's also like because there's less language, so it's like more like, I guess the right brain's a little bit more like
caveman,
intuitive, but not by much. Like they're still pretty much the same thing. They just have little differences between the two. Yeah,
what happens if you cut the brain in half?
I actually know a lot about this. So if you cut the brain in half, each half of the brain will act independently of one another. So essentially, a big thing that that happens is like the left brain will interpret things that the right brain does. So if you send a message to the left eye, which goes to the right brain, which to the right half of the brain, and you give it an instruction to stand, and only the right brain can see it, you'll stand up. Then the left brain will. Then you'll ask the person why they just stood up, and the left hemisphere, because the left hemisphere is verbal, the left hemisphere can actually speak. The left brain will basically say like, "Oh, I'm thirsty. Like I want to go get like a Pepsi, like from the vending machine."
And do they get a Pepsi?
I mean, like that's what they rationalize to be like, "Oh, I just felt like stretching," I just felt like standing.
Is my red the same as your red?
Probably not.
Oh shit.
Yeah, dude. We are trapped in our own minds. Literally. The only thing you can experience is the thing that your sensations tell you. You're just a fucking brain in a box. In a dark box.
Is God real?
Depends on what you mean by real.
Okay. I'm done asking random questions. Okay.
But yeah. Fuck.
Synchronicity. Sometimes things happen, and they also happen at the same time as something else that is similar. That's synchronicity.
Yeah. Well, the whole... Actually, it's really cool. The whole basis of, shamanism is based around, being able to predict the future. Yeah,
but
and so they would,
all those shamans are high as fuck all the time, aren't they?
Yeah, which is weird. Yeah, the main thing about, shamanism is, being able to predict the future, and, fighters on who will microdose, they say that they can see moves that the other person does before they happen. So I think that maybe that ramps up the pattern seeking ability of our brains.
Maybe
something like that. Because geometric patterns, that's
oh well, I guess that makes sense. Yeah, definitely.
Makes sense
because if you
way.
take a psychedelic, then that's all you'll see, way more patterns and everything already.
Also, a lot of people have what the fuck is it called? Epiphanies while on psychedelics.
Hello?
And so that could just be pattern seeking.
Oh, are you doing that?
Yeah, I'm recording.
Oh, sorry. I was just asking if you wanted any of the breakfast food.
Sure.
Okay.
Okay. I'm back.
Hey, dude.
Hey. What were you saying?
Fuck.
I was saying that psychedelics
pattern seeking. Basically, it seems to me that psychedelics are able to help us with our pattern seeking abilities, essentially. That because in small doses, fucking psilocybin mushrooms will increase visual acuity.
Did you know that virtual reality increases your depth perception?
Really?
Yeah, I never knew that.
That's cool. I wonder how that happened.
I feel like it's probably because we don't really in our society we don't really have to use our depth perception as much as we would have had to. But in virtual reality games, there's so much they just put you in crazy situations, or not just crazy situations, they'll just put you in awesome places to look at, and you'll look at everything all the time. I feel like it would kind of be the same if you were to go outside more and be out in nature and stuff a lot more, I feel like that might do the same thing to your depth perception as virtual reality does.
Yeah, because like what virtual reality does is basically just make things have depth to them.
Yeah.
It's basically just creating a 3D environment that you can interact with.
Yeah.
Virtual reality is fucking awesome.
It's pretty cool.
It's pretty cool.
Did you know that when virtual reality was first created is also the same time that everybody stopped going outside? That's synchronicity for you.
Oh no. I don't know if it's synchronicity. I think we can elevate synchronous events to a level higher than like advances in technology mean we stay inside more.
Well, it sure was a synchronizing event. Happened exactly at the same time.
It was a synchronizing event. They happened.
Literally nobody leaves their house anymore. Ever.
Yeah, dude. I don't. I'm not afraid to admit it.
I just put my headset on and I'm gone.
Yeah. A lot of people get like ear infections and shit because they actually wear earbuds too much.
Oh, I don't wear earbuds because I try to wear them as little as I can because they just don't fit my ears.
Mm. Yeah, that makes sense.
This episode is so weird.
This episode's fucked, dude. We're just talking about whatever the fuck we want. I like it when we talk about whatever the fuck we want. It's nice and refreshing. Also, Carl Jung was like one of the first people to be like, okay, there's a lot of stories about, death and like moving on to the other side and being able to be a ghost on the other side. And a lot of this other stuff. He was like, I'm not saying there's an afterlife. But, like, pretty much literally everyone before us believed there was an afterlife.
A lot of people did believe there was an afterlife. But I also think that's something that you would want to believe. Because, we're given this life. And then it's hard to believe that death is even real. It's not something that, like, it's really hard for the human brain to even comprehend.
So it's like a defense mechanism.
That's what I think.
Mm. See, I just want to know what started it. If we could get at what started this, we could fucking know what religion is. But we don't. We don't know what it is.
The Big Bang.
The closest model we have to religion is fucking memes. That's the closest thing we have to like how religions start. And cults,
everybody just starts repeating the same thing.
Yeah.
And that's how something starts?
Yeah, the very idea of a meme is like an idea that like propagates. Mm-hmm. So I guess it's technically physical.
Religion is a meme.
Yeah. It's fucking cool, dude.
It's one of the longest lasting memes in history.
Yeah. It's a big meme.
Yeah, it's a pretty
big
good meme.
It's a good meme, dude.
They put a lot of work into that meme.
Yeah, dude. So many iterations, so many different versions.
So many translators. They've translated the meme into every different language.
Google translated fucking the Bible into just every language, just left it. Like, yeah, it's fine. Or the Enuma Elish, actually, translated into every other language. Just like, yeah, that's our religion.
Well, it's been about half an hour. Do you think that's a good place to leave this episode off?
Yeah, dude. This is here, dude.
This is the Surrealists episode. That's the name. I'm gonna call it the Surrealist episode because we didn't even talk about what we were going to talk about.
We are an illusion. The only person you can prove that exists is yourself, and maybe even then, not actually.
Okay, goodbye, everybody.
Bye. Have fun with that.